So if I can just give a quick intro, it's all about developing a QA framework that can be used to validate the configuration, functionality, security, interoperability, readiness, and performance of a deployment. Any of us who've worked in payments in the more conventional payment world knows that a QA assessment is often part of the deployment process. This framework might be used by adopters to self-certify, which can have value, but not as much value as if it's used by an external reviewer to create a level of assurance for supervisory authorities and participants. So I think I've touched on why do we need one, but to expand a little further, it provides a consistent approach for stakeholders to assess the quality and readiness of Mojaloop deployments. It supports independent evaluations of resilience, security, and functional integrity. And by establishing a structured approach to this assessment, we can help deployment teams identify and address gaps early. It'll help participants assess their operational readiness before onboarding. It can help regulators or supervisory bodies interpret implementation quality based on objective inputs. And also it helps the Mojaloop community share best practices and align on minimum expectations. So that's the what and the why, and now I'm going to hand over to Moses to talk about the how. So over to you, Moses.
Yes, I'll ask my colleague Dennis to put up the presentation. And good morning, good afternoon, everyone who has been able to join the call. As introduced, my name is Moses Kipchirchir. I'm a partner at KPMG. And today I'm going to be walking you through the quality assurance work stream. So very quickly, the reason why we need to have a quality assurance work stream for Mojaloop is because Mojaloop is being adopted across markets, and it's critical national infrastructure. And because of that, it's important that deployments must be secure, it must be stable, and it must be interoperable on day one. And therefore, a quality assurance framework then provides an approach for us to ensure that we have verified those elements of security, stability, interoperability, and other areas before deployment. It's important as well, because this is critical national infrastructure, that quality is not something that's optional. It is essential to maintain the trust that we expect for any payment systems. This work stream, as I said earlier, is led by myself. And as I said, I'm a partner at KPMG. So in the course of developing the materials for this work stream, I'll be bringing my experience and our firm's experience in providing quality assurance for deployments across many clients, risk management experience for technology deployments as well, and developing artifacts that then can be used by the community in assuring their implementations. We intend at the end of completion of this work stream that we have developed a set of assets that can offer repeatable and consistent way of validating Mojaloop implementation. And we can support the community so that adopters can do their own self-assessments where they intend to do so. And external reviewers as well can use the framework to conduct quality assurance. What we aim to deliver by this work stream, number one, is a practical, testable framework for evaluating Mojaloop deployments. So therefore, you will have certain tools. We will look at what those tools are. Then that you can use to assure your own implementations. There are 6 pillars, which we will review shortly, that we have looked at generally to be the key pillars for quality for a deployment. And at the end of our of completion of this work stream, you will then have tools, you'll have checklists, you'll have templates. Then you can use to carry out either your own self-assessment or for external reviewers to use. We also want to achieve a process that can build confidence for technical teams, for regulators, for partners in doing their own deployments. The 6 pillars that we want to focus on as part of the development of the framework includes configuration, functionality, security, interoperability, performance, and governance. So configuration, we want to ask ourselves whether we have developed a system that is ready for testing, for example. Have we had the right setup? So we're looking at configuration from an infrastructure point of view. We're looking at configuration from a compliance point of view. Is the environment ready? The schemes? All of those then fall under configuration validation. So for this work stream, we will be working very closely with the technical teams to define the required configuration and then developing checklists and tools then that adopters can use to determine that configurations have been done in line with the Moja Loop standards. The second area that we'll focus is on functionality testing. And this is more aligned with what you would consider user acceptance testing. The question we want to answer here is the system working as it should? Are you able to send and receive funds? Are you able to process requests? Where we have business rules, have those rules been implemented correctly? Are errors being handled correctly? The entire suite of the functional elements of Moja Loop from end to end. So this functional testing pillar then will have certain tools there that can be used for addressing the functional elements. Earlier in the morning, we had a presentation on security assessment. These will also be a key pillar of the quality assurance framework. Before rollout of any Moja Loop deployment, it is essential that a security assessment is done. And that means it is recommended that you carry out a vulnerability assessment and a penetration testing. And that will help us uncover certain security issues that we might see. It was encouraging to hear earlier this morning that based on either ongoing deployments or past deployments, there have been certain issues that have been brought to the attention of the community that are then being fixed going forward. So this becomes a feature for any deployment. Beyond that, there are certain other security measures that you need to have in place, such as encryption, keys management, access-based, role-based access controls that needs to be in place, audit trails that will allow auditability of the systems, those are some of the other security elements that we expect to have in place. And in regards to that, we will develop a toolkit as well for security that then adopters can use to assure the systems. Another pillar that we look at is interoperability readiness, and that is around integration with DFSPs and other stakeholders. Just ensure that there is API conformance, directory services, that the integration with all parties, one, secure, they are functional, and in line with Moja-Loop standards. The fifth area is performance and scalability. And in this area, we are looking at throughput, load handling, and recovery. So we want to ensure that the system is stress tested to be able to handle volume. I think I heard in the morning today that there are certain tests that have been done in that regard, and therefore it will be important, I think, and of interest to parties to ensure that before a go live, we have assurance that the system is able to handle loads that are expected. The last pillar that we will focus on is project governance. I know that for any major deployment, you are probably going to have a project management team that is handling your scope, that is handling your risks, that is handling change control, stakeholder engagements, and other project management aspects. What we want to do with quality from that perspective is also bring in a third eye to look at those things and ensure that they are being done, and they are being done correctly. So the delivery discipline, are we managing the scope properly? Have all risks been identified? So beyond the project management team, there is an additional third eye that is looking at risks with regards to the execution of the project. And there is healthy deployment of the project from the beginning to the end. So that would be another pillar as well of deployment that we expect to see for our Moja-Loop deployments. So these are the six key pillars for which then we will organize how we develop our quality assurance framework for Moja-Loop. So we are midway through the development of the framework. We started this off in May. This work stream actually started on the sidelines of the Moja-Loop community in April in Accra, Ghana. And after that, in May, we then had a launch where we, in principle, agreed on the need for this work stream, the tools that we needed. In the month of June, we have defined the pillars. We've had several meetings and agreed on the plan for developing the framework. Currently, we have started to develop test cases for each pillars, working on the toolkits, the checklists, the scripts, the templates, and others. In the month of August, we want to do some testing and engagement with stakeholders, perform those tests, ensure that they are fit for purpose and they are aligned with the objectives of Moja-Loop. In September, we want to have completed the framework in time for official launch in October, hopefully at the next Moja Loop community meeting. What is going to be contained in the toolkit? So the toolkit will have several things that we expect to provide to the community. There will be checklists and guidelines, which shows what adopters can use, either themselves or third parties, to show you what you can verify and how you can verify. There will be a test case library where that is applicable. So test scenarios, especially for functional areas, security test scripts. Some of these might be available, but we'll make them part of the toolkit then to just ensure that we've got a comprehensive toolkit. We'll have tools and templates such as report template, results, logs, and others, which become outputs of application of the framework. I said earlier that we could, this toolkit can be used to self-assess, or it can be used by external parties. Therefore, we'll have a self-certification toolkit with guidance for adopters to run their own self-assessments. And of course, we also have documentation and training materials, which then the members of the community can use in sensitizing their teams or growing awareness on how to use the tool. The road ahead, as I said earlier, the community review is expected in the next month or two. So we expect to have concluded by end of Q3 of this year and have a final framework. In October, we want to publish the QA framework for general use. Afterwards, we hope that is adopted and used by adopters for their deployment. In 2026, we will create a framework from which we can update the framework on an ongoing basis and create a process for then adopting the framework and implementation going forward. So that's my presentation on the Moja Loop quality assurance framework. And at this point, I'll welcome any questions or comments.
That's great. Very pleased to see the work that's gone into it so far, and the this particular roadmap I think is very helpful.
Looking forward to collaborations, and I think I would welcome any contributions to the development of this framework. At the end of the day, it's going to be owned by the community, and it's important that if you have any contributions, feel free to reach out.